more things to it as we go along. The Mahabharata is a catalogue of all the Dharma Shastras, earning it the status of what is called the Panchama Veda. That means it is something which is equivalent to the Vedas itself. Now, no ordinary text can be equal to the Vedas because, as we know, the Vedas are Apaurushaya Granthas. That means they have, they are eternal. They've always been there, and because of that, it gives them the rarest quality of being the purest amongst everything. So Mahabharata is indeed a very, very important text for us. And because it's in the story form, we can understand things more easily. Now, the Mahabharata is a long text. It has got 100,000 shlokas. That means 1 lakh shlokas are catalogued in that. So it is not easy for us to be able to understand all 100,000 shlokas, be able to assimilate it, and be able to understand the depth. By the time one actually goes through all the 100,000 shlokas, it is a very bright chance that we might forget what the start of the granthas, the various characters who are involved there, what all they did, why did things happen in a certain way. So what the Mahabharata has done is that it has conveniently divided the whole text into many chapters, and each chapter has got many sub chapters. But what has also got done is that the there are certain milestones. So let us assume that you are driving from Bangalore to Chennai. On the way, you will see many prominent cities which are there, correct? And those are called milestones. That means you have left Bangalore and you have reached, if you are, you're driving towards Chennai, you'll find many towns and cities on the way. So all of them are something that are called milestones. So after 15 minutes, you should have reached certain stage. After 2 hours, you will have reached certain stage. After 3 hours, you should have reached a certain stage. So we call them milestones. Why? Because they are very important aspects in your journey. So one such milestone which has got lot of advice for us is nothing but the Vidura Neeti. Bhagavad Gita is another one. Anugita is another one. Then there are Uma Maheshwara Samvada. There is a discussion between goddess Parvati and Shiva. That Uma Maheshwara Samvada is the other. Then there is a discussion post-war between between Bhishmacharya and Yudhishthira, where he gives Yudhishthira all the knowledge that he needs to be a Dharma Raja. That means, in the true sense, be a king who upholds Dharma or righteousness. That's what it is all about. And in that, of course, comes the very famous Sri Vishnu Sahasranama, the Sarvasheshta Stotra, as we know it to be. So given this background, we started this session, and what followed there was something which is, what is the context of Vidura Neeti? So since this is a concluding part, I am reiterating certain important aspects of the Grantha. I hope all of you are able to hear me clearly. If one of you can type yes in the comment section, that will confirm that everything is clear. Are you all able to hear me? Yes, thank you. Thank you, Harish. So with that, what has happened is, thanks you, Rakshita madam. Thank you. Thank you, Rashmi, Raj. Thank you. So this is how it flows. So what happened after this was very interesting. There is a night, a very sad night for Dhritarashtra. It is the context before the war. The way things are heading, he's quite sure the war will happen and he will meet defeat. He has got intelligence to that extent to understand that the war that he's fighting is, first of all, not a righteous war. He's a guilty person. You can see that aspect of him throughout the Mahabharata Itihasa, but he's unable to do anything about it. He has got the best people around him giving him the best advice, but he is a person who is very oblivious to that advice. Somehow he is just not able to act on it. which in many ways is our own story. We all seem to know what is the right thing, but to be able to implement it, to be able to think and ponder and say, yes, I should change my course, happens very rarely. So, why Vidura Neeti is important is that not just because it has got lot of advice for us, it is also important to see how Vidura Neeti unfortunately ended. It ends with Dhritarashtra admitting that, Vidura, you are telling me a lot of things. I got a lot of knowledge, but unfortunately, I'm not able to act on it because I'm completely clouded in my mind about my moha, or a sense of over attachment that I have with 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 my sons, who I know are doing the wrong thing, and I know the Pandavas are doing the right thing. Yet I am unable to, I'm unable to control myself and take them on the path of dharma. So that is what he starts to do. So, what we wanted to emphasize, and this is what we are focusing at Ataha. Some of you who have been attending our sessions will know this, that we want these Shastra Granthas to be playbooks. We don't want them to be just textbooks. Textbooks are academic. You hear, you get the knowledge. Now, if you want to apply that, we in our science classes we always had this practical book. We used to write practical records. That means we were able to convert a certain theory that we had onto action that becomes more useful. Otherwise, all this is great to hear, and then we forget at the end of the after that what happened. So we want to change that, right? And what is, we want everybody to be able to analyze everything that we are telling from three perspectives. The first thing, the Itihasa was written to raise our spiritual quotient, raise our Vedantic quotient, to make us better sadhakas, to give us bhakti, to give us the knowledge about God. That is why Mahabharata was written. So, the first purpose is to see that at the end of any pursuit that we have, has our bhakti grown towards God or not? Have we got a better understanding of the God or not? If the answer is yes, then that study has been useful. If it is not the case, that means it requires a rereading or better understanding as we go along. That's the first thing. The second perspective, three perspective, the second perspective is that you have to analyze everything from the perspective of being a person. That means personal. In your personal life, that means your relationships, your responsibilities towards your families, towards your friends. What kind of a person are you? What kind of an individual you are? What kind of a legacy do you want to leave behind? And so on and so forth. That is your personal part. The third one, which is also very important, and this is where the whole applicability of Vidura Niti or whatever we are studying just goes to a whole new level, is when we are looking at things and saying, how did Vidura Niti make me a better professional? Am I a better leader? Am I a better manager? Am I a better person, an individual contributor? Am I being a better administrator, and am I being a fair leader, and so on? All that is a part of your professional life. Now that is the best part of Mahabharata, that the Mahabharata can be stretched in all these three perspectives, and there could be more perspectives. For example, how does a doctor look at something like the Mahabharata? Are there specific takeaways for doctors in the Mahabharata, and so on? So therefore, we are going through Vidur Niti, that is fine, but we want each one of you to, which whatever book you study, whatever granthas you study, whatever Shastra granthas you are reading, if you want to have it to have multiple effects, then look at it from all three perspectives, right? Now in this, what happens is, the if you're reading, let us say, a shloka and understand reading the meaning, the Vedantic and the spiritual understanding comes to you, because that is how the translations are written. How it impacts on you personally is the next level, which becomes slightly more, you have to read in more detail and try to apply it. The third one, which is professional, is something that you have to really apply your mind and think how this can be used in your professional way. Why? because Mahabharata was not written with the primary purpose. I'm underlying the word primary. The primary purpose is to improve yourself professionally. It is predominantly Vedantic, as I wrote, as I said, and it has got something on your personal life about individual and how you can change and how you can improve. But professionalism is something that you will have to apply your mind. But that is the best part. The moment you start looking at it and say, okay, what does it mean for me professionally? What does it mean for me as someone who is working in a company or doing something else? What is it? If I'm an entrepreneur, what does Vidura Neeti tell me? And you will see that the learnings can be so many, so deep, that we are all talking about it on a Saturday night. Great time to learn these things, but on a Monday morning, all these learnings will be equally useful. Once you start finding something useful, your body and your mind will try to repeat it. If it is not found useful, our mind has a very smart way of putting it aside, because there are so many other things to do. Why would anybody do something which is not useful to them, right? So it's really up to us as to how we make use of these lessons and apply it in all three perspectives, right? So with that, let me jump into Vidur Niti. But before that, just 30 seconds, I want you to think about it. That's why I put it here. That we are going to conclude the Vidur Niti today. But we are very keen to hear your feedback about what should be the next topic for our live session. So I put some of them here, but it's really up to you. And I want you to think about what topic it is and suggest to us, and we will take it up. As I keep telling, Ataha is meant to help you people understand and do give content which is useful to you. We are all not really interested in saying something which probably will not be of interest and use to you. So please do tell us, what would you like? Should it be Ishavasya Upanishad, the first Upanishad which is always studied in the order? We have covered Kataka Upanishad like that, the which is fourth. Ishavasya is the first. So should we take that up? The other one is something which is always claimed to be a stotra which helps us overcome all the financial problems that we have, and that is Sri Lakshmi Hridaya, brilliant stotra which comes in the Atharvana Rahasya. Many of you might be familiar, many of you might be reciting it as well. But would you like to understand the meaning of Lakshmi Hridaya stotra? Because Lakshmi Hridaya stotra, when you're studying it and understanding the meaning, also gives us many aspects of our scriptures, not just about Lakshmi Devi, but also about many other people, other gods, our mindset that we need to be successful, not only on in financial terms, but other things as well. The other alternative we have is a lovely piece in Bhagavata, which is called the Prahalada Raja's message to all the Daitya Balakas. There is a lovely piece. Again, as I said, the Prahalada Raja's message to everybody is a milestone in the Bhagavata. And it, I think, covers the path of sadhana very comprehensively in that place. The fourth alternative is, do we want to study Sri Raghavendra Swami Stotra, Raghavendra Stotra as it is called, its meaning and its understanding to about that. So many of us recite it, many of us hear it, but what is the real meaning of Raghavendra Stotra? These are some suggestions that we have got from people, so I've put it up here. But if there are other topics that you would like us to cover in the future session, please do let us know. Okay. Now, this I think is covered. Now, all of us were thinking, see, there is a very sharp, we have a issue at hand as far as Vidur Niti is concerned. The reason is, why are, why are we doing this? This person, Dhritarashtra, is not able to sleep. So why is Vidura giving us so many things about about our personality, about our issues, about our character? Who is a pandita, not a pandita? What is his conduct? What are his? Why are we getting into all this? Right? He could have just told him that, look, this is what is making you anxious. You just sleep. Morning we'll get up, and then we'll think about it. Right? He could have said that, or He could have given him something which is an immediate fix and told him that, look, Dhritarashtra, I know why you are not able to sleep. That's because you are anxious. That is because tomorrow morning you have to make a decision about giving back the kingdom to Pandavas or not. Your son is not allowing him to do it. So you make up your mind. If you are going to give them back the kingdom, it will be right, and you will be relieved of that guilt that you have in your mind. The other thing that can be done, other thing, the decision, you say, no, I'm going to suffer with this, this, let it be, I'm willing to face the consequences. Why don't I make a decision and say that? Vidura could have said that, but he doesn't say that. What he is doing instead is that he is looking at the whole piece and saying, you know what, this anxiety that you have is multi-layered. It is not one thing. It is not one small question. It's not a sharp question that is there in your mind, which is lingering in your mind. It is nothing but it's a very deep issue. So please ensure that you've understood the construct of your problem. And then he starts giving a lot of advice. um, Now this is a challenge with us with respect to mental challenges, mental health issues, which is one of the biggest problems that is plaguing us today. It is plaguing all of us. There is no exception to this. Some may be facing it to a larger extent, some may be facing it to a lesser extent. Some people may be facing it because they have, they have, they may be aware of it. Some people may not be aware of it. But the fact is, some people may be, the impact of their mental anxiety might be very high on somebody. In some cases it may not be known at all. But what is important is, irrespective of whether we know it or not, how do we feel anxious, the exact reason is never known. And that is because our mind works like this. You look at this, there is a sea, there's a glacier. The mountain that is seen outside is just a small one. So assume you are sitting in a boat and going towards this mountain. You think, okay, this one small, I will just bypass and I will go. But look at what is there below. It is not seen, but it is much, much bigger. So if you want to get rid of this challenge, of this huge problem of mental health that we are facing, it is not enough if we just do some quick fixes. Okay, I'm feeling bad, I'm feeling guilty about something. I think I taken somebody else's rights in some place. I'm going to do some quick, I'm going to recite some stotra and do something which is like a quick fix. But so what is this? Why do we feel the anxiousness? Why? So that is the issue, that we don't, we feel anxious about ourselves. So if we want to understand any problem, we have to understand that in entirety that is there. So what we have to do here is that we have to, so what Vidura is trying to do is to paint the complete picture. He's giving him all options. He's giving all aspects that could be causing this anxiety. That is why there are huge number of questions and huge number of answers that he gives. He gives Dhritarashtra multiple perspectives to think about why he's feeling anxious. So with that, let's continue with next question, set of advice that Vidura has given. He says, who are the 6 people that we should give up on? That means we should not stand by them. Number 1, a guru who does not teach. A guru who does not teach, we should give him up, because he is a person who is not teaching. That means a person, if you just look at all these things, majority of that is people who are not doing what they are supposed to do. So if a guru does not teach, a ritvika, that means a person who performs the homas, the yagnas, if he does not study, that means he is doing all these things blindly. A king who does not protect, a spouse who speaks harshly. Why this is important? Because when we think about our life, we think about our country, we think about our state, we think about our company, we think about everything. But which is the smallest unit of our society. It is the family. So a spouse, it could be husband, it could be wife, it could be the partner who speaks harshly, creates a negative environment at home. Perennially, the atmosphere is negative. Perennially, everybody is driven towards looking at things in a negative way. There is tension at home. So, if there is tension at home, which is the smallest unit of the society, the people living in that family will always be looking to get out of that family, to stay away from that. So, people stay away from their homes. They want to go somewhere else. They don't want to come home because the spouse who speaks harshly. So, that person should be given up. That means that tendency should be curbed. A cowherd who does not want to stay in a village. Imagine there's a person who takes care of the cow. He does not want to stay in a village. And a barber who wishes to stay in a forest. So, if we want to look beyond the exact words, it is those people who are not doing what they are supposed to do. One should stay away from them because they are the people who create imbalance in the society. They are the people who do not do what they are supposed to do. So one may think, Arey, what happens if one person does not do what he do? Many of us are living in large cities, and in a large road, you can see one small car has got stuck up in one corner of a road. What does it do? It stops the entire traffic of the road, which is not what you want, right? So one small thing can cause a big impact. So therefore, without evaluating how big is the impact, a person should always be associated with people who are doing that duty, because then the whole system will be energized. Then he comes to the next set of advice. He says 6 things to never give up. What happens is, the moment we are under stress, the moment we start facing challenges, the first thing that we do is to give up on certain things which are our basic foundation. In that situation of anxiety and panic, what we do is that we start making fundamental mistakes. Number one is speaking the truth. No matter how difficult a situation is, no matter how difficult a problem may be, no, one may get away with something by saying something which is false, but speaking and sticking to the truth is very important. It may be difficult, but sticking to the truth is something which will always keep us in good stead. Because if we try to say something which is false just to come out of the problem, we have only postponed the problem. It will come back to us after some time. So it is better to accept that as it is and say the truth. So this is something that is very, very important for us. The second one is dana. The moment somebody is in a state of distress, he is bound to think, "Hey, look, I myself don't have money. I myself don't have the resources. Why should I be giving dana?" No. Dana, giving charity, giving to people who are needy, takes away a lot of our negativity. What happens is, the moment you start giving, your problems start to look smaller because other people have bigger problems, right? So some person may be saying, "Oh my God, I have got a big knee pain." The moment he sees somebody who's got cancer, what will he say? "Oh, that person has a bigger problem." So dana, what it does is, it helps to overcome that sense that all that I have is mine. The act of dana, the act of giving something in charity is, it's not mine. Naham karta, hari karta. God is the giver. All this, the wealth that you see in any form, wealth again does not mean money. Everything that we have, health is wealth. A good environment is wealth. So many things that we have, knowledge is wealth. All these are very essential. Imagine somebody who's got lot of monetary wealth, but does not have ayushya, or he does not have lifespan, or he does not have arogya, health, what use is it to do that? So therefore, when he gives that as dana, whatever we have as wealth, we give it up saying it's not mine, it belongs to someone else, and somebody deserves it more. Slowly we see that since we are thinking in a large hearted way, our problems start to shrink. We most of our problems, or let me put it like many of our problems, are because we are looking at it from a very limited lens. The moment your canvas improves, our the problem becomes very small, right? If you look at, take a paper and put one dot, it'll go, the dot is very big, but imagine that the paper to be 20 times that, the dot will look very small. So therefore, charity, dana, is a very, very important way to never give up even in times of difficulty. The third one is analasya. That means being active. The moment we feel that we are in trouble, it paralyzes many people. We're not able to act. Oh my God, I don't know, I'm not able to act. So that has to go. So being active really, really helps, because it helps you keep your mental and physical health in good state to be able to solve that problem. You're not passively sitting and letting that problem overweigh you. You remember one of the things that Vidura Neeti said, don't sit and eat alone. Don't sit and brood alone. Don't be awake when everybody is sleeping. Why did they say that? Because they don't want you to sit and brood, right? So if you get up, if you move, and you start thinking about how do I overcome this problem, you will find a solution. And activity and action helps us overcome the solution. So being active, one should never give up. That feeling of jealousy, it is a permanent thing which burns us from inside. That is why they are called arishad varga. That means they consume us from inside. They will eat us, they will make us hollow, they will make us burnt, because these are negative emotions. This is exactly what plagued Duryodhana. There was never a day in his life when he was happy. There is a famous story in Mahabharata. I think I have shared it in one of our sessions earlier, but in the context of jealousy, we should be able to remind ourselves of the story. So, after the game of dice, the Dyuta Krida, where Pandavas lost and Kauravas won by deceit, they banished the Pandavas to the forest. We know this. So, when the Pandavas were leaving for the forest, everybody had tears in their eyes, including Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, of course, Kunti, Bhishmacharya. Everybody had tears in their eyes that the Pandavas are going. And then, what happened the next day, the day after the Pandavas had left? They heard somebody crying very, very loudly. So everybody was surprised who this person is. Then they saw it was Duryodhana who was crying very loudly. So all the elders in the family, like Bhishmacharya, felt very happy. They said, "Oh, I think this Duryodhana has finally got some good sense, and he's repenting because the Pandavas went away. That is what must have happened to him." At that time, they go and ask him, "Why are you crying?" So Duryodhana says that, "Look, we have sent these Pandavas to the forest. In that total period, one day is already over, right? For so many years they were supposed to be there, but one day they are already over. That means that kingdom will, me as a king or as the Yuvaraja, have already lost one day, right?" So you can imagine the amount of jealousy, the hatred that he has for Pandavas. And what did he do? When he got the kingdom, he should have said, "Okay, look, 13 years, it is going to be mine. After 13 years, what we do, we'll start thinking later. But these 13 years, let me enjoy being the king," because that is what he wanted. So he has got what he wanted, but what was he doing in that period? What he was doing was trying to find out where Pandavas are, going and demonstrating that he is still the king and these people are in the forest, and trying to humiliate them again and again, right? And putting them down, trying to belittle them, humiliate them. But what happened? Finally, it was the Pandavas who emerged successful in the whole thing. It was the Duryodhana who had to face that sense of humiliation every time he tried to humiliate others. And that did not stop. That continued throughout Mahabharata till the time of his death. He's always thinking negatively about everybody, especially the Pandavas. Whereas the Pandavas left for the forest. And what were they doing? All the rishis, all the munis, all the gurus, and all the righteous people just went behind the Pandavas in large numbers. They went behind Pandavas. They said, we don't want to stay in a kingdom where there are no Pandavas, because we are after Dharma and Dharma is leaving. So we want to go with them. So Yudhishthira says, if you come behind us, how will we feed you? Because that is a forest. They said, we are not coming behind you for food. We are not coming behind you for wealth. We are coming behind you because you have gnana and you are all devatas. So you will bless us. So even if you have to stay hungry, that's okay. And what happens? Even in the forest, the Pandavas made it a point to continue all the dharmic activities like the way they were doing it here with whatever resources they had. And they were feeding the rishis. As a consequence, what did they get? They got Akshaya Patra. They got that divine vessel which will never go empty. Right? So if your heart is big, God gives you that kind of resources. If your heart is limited, God is going to say, what are you going to do with this? Imagine the principal of an engineering college or a medical college goes to the university and says, I need 10 crores. The university will say, 10 crores, okay, what are you going to do with it? And the principal is going to say, yeah, this is I need these facilities. And the university will say, is 10 crores sufficient, or do you want more? Have you thought about it? And so on and so forth. And they will grant that money, because the money that is being asked is for a larger cause. It costs a lot to run these places. So the university knows this. Imagine a kindergarten a teacher or a person who owns a kindergarten goes, I want 10 crores. They'll say, for kindergarten, why do you need? Because the resources that you need are very different and they're small. So therefore, it is dependent. God is also like that. The moment that person is giving away dana, God says, Array, if I give it to this person, he's giving it as dana. He's not keeping it for himself. He's giving it to people who are deserving. So give him more. So the best way to be wealthy in your life is to give charity. This is a proven way that dharmic texts keep telling us. If you want to grow rich, give dana. If you want to be a gnani, whatever little we know, we should be telling others. The moment you tell others, it multiplies and you become the beneficiary of that. Because in some way, you yourself will see that knowledge grow around you and your own knowledge level grows. Simple thing, I think it's all our experience, right? I might want to read the Mahabharata, so I will read the Mahabharata. The moment I know that I have to deliver a session on Vidura Neeti, the way I read it will be very different. So I will read it better. I will read it with more depth. I will think it with more contemplation. I think it's our experience. All of us have this experience. So therefore, one has to be free of jealousy. Now, okay, let me complete it and then come to that question that somebody had written to us and we have given a elaborate response. The fifth one is on forgiveness. Kshama. Kshama is very, very important. Kshama is an ability we have seen last time. If you want to progress, you cannot carry the baggage. Somebody might have done something wrong. Yes, it happens with all of us. We also will be doing things wrong. We have to, if somebody has done something wrong, we just have to keep forgiving and moving. So it is like the mango tree. It has got a lot of very sweet fruits, right? The mango tree. But what does everybody do with the tree? They take stones and keep hitting at the mango tree. Every time they hit a stone at the mango tree, what does the mango tree do? It gives them 2 sweet mangoes, right? So if one becomes good if one grows in stature, if one progresses in life, if one becomes tall, it is but natural that everybody will try to pull him down by throwing stones at them. So instead of getting upset, what that person should do, therefore, is to ignore it, forgive, and then move. Because if he stops at every stage to, to condemn this, to take revenge, he will not be able to move. He has to just forget it and he has to move on in life. Only such people will be able to progress in their life. So, free of jealousy, forgiveness, and lastly, courage. Very important. Every day has a night, but every night has a sunrise which is going to come. Neither the sunset and the darkness nor the brightness is permanent. So, therefore, like we say, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a beautiful silver lining on every cloud. We just have to have the courage that sometimes it may happen. The life seems very difficult, right? All of you have experienced time. You can say yes or no in the comment section, where we all have faced very difficult situations. You agree? Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, madam. Yes. See, all of us have had this. We've Many of us might have it multiple times. So much so that we might come back and say, "Oh my God, I don't want to live this life." Right? Very much, sir. Right? Absolutely. And none of us are an exception to this. But when such a thing happens, the best thing to do is to sit and pray and do all these six things, right? It is not easy. It is not going to be easy to think on these lines. In a neutral tone, I can, just say you should do this. But to do this in reality is not going to be easy. So, to put us in the path that we should be doing, see, we have been listing, we should be doing these things, we should not be doing these things. But it is not easy. In the face of a difficult situation, let us say, unfortunately, somebody has lost someone who is very dear. That time, if one is able to recall these techniques, because these are all techniques and tools at the end of the day that we should put to use. So, when you're doing something like this, right, how will you, how it is a beautiful way of coming out of it, but how do you do it? So, that is the power of prayer. That's the power that we get because we are connecting with a higher source. So when our mobile phone feels tired, what do we do? What do we do when mobile phone is tired? What do we do when the mobile phone is tired? So what do you mean by mobile phone being tired? Switch it off. My God, battery is low. Yes. What do we do when the battery is low? What do we do? We charge it, right? We charge it. Now, how do you get that positivity? Through prayer. Is you're recharging your battery, right? When you sit and pray, when you sit and meditate, what happens? You're connecting to a higher energy source, right? When you're with negative people, you're connecting to a negative energy source. It is draining your energy. Imagine you have 3% on your mobile phone, and you are charging something else with your mobile phone. You can also use your mobile phone to charge something, right? For example, this audio machine is there. Close all running apps. Superb, right? Close all the running apps. Why do we do that? Because we want to shut down. So this act of closing all running apps is called meditation. We are withdrawing from every every sense organ, right? Our indriyas, correct? Our indriyas are things which will, we have to withdraw our energy. When we are meditating, some people say, see, I'm thinking about God, so I will be walking around. I'm a very busy person, so I keep walking around. I'm So why can't I think about God? So thinking about God we can all do anytime. But if you want to contemplate and we want to meditate, we close our eyes. Why do we close our eyes? Because we want to withdraw from that sense of seeing. Because the moment you start seeing something, your mind will start to act. So closing your eyes, it will focus all your energy on one thing that you want to contemplate. Correct? Agree? All of you agree with this? So therefore, that speaking the truth is a very, very important part of our whole, our starting that process and overcoming these things which you should never give up. So to energize ourselves, to be able to do all these things, one should always be connecting to a superior source and praying to God to take us in that direction. That's why they say when nothing else works, just sit quiet in one place. Don't do anything. Just listen to the Vishnu Sahasranama. It happened during COVID times. We had planned a session on Brahma Sutras. I saw somebody asking what is Vedanta. Vedanta is nothing but Brahma Sutras. So we had planned a session on Brahma Sutras. Very great topic. But that time, in that period that happened, the COVID uh, pandemic started spreading very, very fast. India was losing lakhs of people in a day. At that time, we said the right, so many of our participants were unfortunately in hospitals. Some of them were recuperating at home. So we changed the topic. We said, let us talk about Vishnu Sahasranama. And we did that session on Vishnu Sahasranama. And there were people who said that, look, we have reached a stage when we can't recite Vishnu Sahasranama. He said, okay, no problem. Why don't you listen to Vishnu Sahasranama if you can't recite it? They said, we are so weak that we can't even recite. We said, okay. Then there is another way, which is Achyutaya Namaha, Anantaya Namaha, Govindaya Namaha. Just recite these three names. Because to be able to recite the entire Vishnu Sahasranam, their memory was failing. They could not recollect the stotras. So I said, Achyutayanma, Anantayanma, Govind. Just recite these three things. And this is not our advice. This is Madhwacharya's advice in the Krishnamrita Maharanama. Achyutananta Govindebhyo Namocharana Bheshajat Nashyanti Sakala Rogaha Satyam Satyam Vadamiham. So it is something which is they started reciting, and many people wrote to us few days after that that we could gain that mental strength to be able to recover. Otherwise, it was looking like we will not survive. So therefore, this is just one thing. I'm sure all of you have had some experience which is spiritual, where you have hit a dead bottom, and then prayers and the blessings of a god or a guru has really helped us. Other things, the next thing Vidura says is, you know, there is a reason why some people are having an existence. So this, why he is saying this, there are cause and there is an effect of that, of everything. Because there are people who are unconscious. That means people who are not very alert. There are thieves in this world. If everybody was alert, thieves can't, survive. Because there are diseases, there are doctors. Because people have evil desires or karma, bad karma, there are prostitutes. Because people have to perform yajna, there is purohita. Because there is dispute, there are kings. In the modern world, we should look at courts, lawyers, and courts. And because there are idiots in this world, mudas, there are scholars. Because all the mudas have to be educated, right? So why he is telling this is that if we want to overcome certain things, prevent the evil effect of certain things, then we should have certain qualities. So, in other words, for example, if we lead a healthy life, then we will not need doctors. We all would have heard no about our grandparents, great grandparents. We would have heard about them, and we would have heard that they never went to a doctor, they never took a medicine. For a person in the modern world, it becomes almost impossible to even believe this. They will say, "Oh my God, what are you saying? How can one not go to doctors?" For some people, it would have become a habit that every week I'm unwell, so let me just land up at the doctor for some reason or the other. Right? Why is this happening? Because we are not taking care of our physical and mental health. If a person is doing good things, he wants yagna, he has to have a connection with the purohita. At the same time, if one is knowledgeable, then he is able to study and assimilate the shastras himself. Of course, he will need a guru. The idea is not to get rid of doctors, get rid of kings, get rid of scholars. That is not the idea. They're talking about why certain situations warrant the existence of certain people in our society. Right? Next, always have gratitude. A person, and this is a beautiful piece which is talking about those situations where a person forgets to have gratitude. It is like a warning on a highway, accident zone. Be careful and drive, don't overspeed, hairpin bend ahead. You would have seen these traffic signals, right? So this is a traffic signal. It is alerting us on those milestones in our life, those situations where we forget to have gratitude. The first one is a student towards a guru. I think this is a big lesson for all of us. And I know many of you are very committed to the education institutes that we have graduated from. Yes, that might be very long ago. You might think, Arey, why should I think about somebody who taught me in nursery? Because that person taught you in nursery, you were able to go to primary school. Correct? So we should have that sense of immense gratitude towards Guru. The second one is a married person towards mother. So what happens typically in a situation is the moment a person starts getting familial responsibilities after marriage, it is but natural that he forgets. Here it is said the mother, but it's more to do with the parents and the other people in the family, because it's very, very focused and sometimes too focused on the spouse. So while it is absolutely important to take care of the spouse and to have all the love and affection, to be, to remember people who have nurtured us, who have given us and made us what we are, one should never give up. So it is alerting us towards that. A desireless person, a person who does not have the desire, the physical desires, he is doing injustice to the spouse. Someone who has helped us complete a task. After the task is over, we have forgotten him. In Kannada, it is called Karyavasi. That means you went to somebody with some agenda. The moment that agenda has been completed, you have forgotten that person. No, the task might be over, but the gratitude towards that person should always be there. We should always look for that opportunity. So my one way that you maintain this kind of relationship is, I learned it from somebody, is that they make a running list of all the people they met. Every day we may be meeting people. It could be one, two, someday maybe meeting 15 people. But they make a list of all the people who are there and are in constant communication with that larger network. And even after the task is over, even after the activity which brought them together is over, they still are keeping in touch with that person, thanking them for whatever they have done. And what do our elders especially want from us? They just want you to remember that, and just say once in a while thank you. That's all everybody wants, and that will be remembered. When you go back and thank somebody for something, they will always remember it as gratitude, right? The next one is a boat after crossing the river. It is symbolic. Once you have crossed the river, people forget the boat that they came in. It is again a symbol of how, after a certain task is done, people forget the, the things and the people who made that happen. And lastly, a patient who forgets a doctor after recovery. So again, we owe that life after recovery to the doctor's promptly treating us with that problem. So again, this sense of gratitude is very important. So you remember our famous task that we had given everybody, which is to write what is that called? What are we all supposed to do every day at the end of the day? Yes, journaling. And I hope you're doing it. If you have not been doing it, and some of you who have joined these sessions after the first few sessions, you can go back. Ataha Madhwacharya for the youth YouTube channel. In the live section, there is a session that we have done on mental health, which is writing the journal or writing the diary. So please do that. If you have not been doing it, no harm, start today. If you have been doing it, please continue. Preserve the diary. I'm telling this because we have already in the month of October. On 31st of December, you should not discard it. You should keep it, and keep it for at least some time, maybe 3 or 4 years, because you can always go back and refer to what you saw there. So we should have this sense of gratitude, because you will be surprised how many things went right for you in that day, and who all helped you in making that day a successful one. Everybody. And we are sitting and complaining that this did not go well for me, or that did not go well for me. It went better for someone else. You'll stop doing this. If you write your journal every week, preferably on a Sunday, spend some time reading the week, and you will realize how much of gratitude you owe to people. Then, next one, he says, what is that thing that gives us sustained happiness? First thing he says, good health. Health, a healthy person is always going to be happy. We cannot be happy if we're not well. So, good health, physical health, mental health is very important. Second one is free from debt. If you have taken money from somebody and you owe somebody that money, it will keep working in your mind. As you know, some people go to the extent of even committing murders and suicides, because they are not able to take the pressure of having taken a debt. So as soon as possible, one should get rid of debt. Now there are certain debts like money which can be repaid, but there are certain debts which cannot be repaid. The debt we owe to the father and the mother for bringing us to the world, how can we repay that? We can't. But we can acknowledge it. How? By touching their feet every day and seeking their blessings. Some of us are fortunate, we have our parents around. So when you have your parents around, please ensure that you are paying your respects to them every day, every time. Now, it may happen that your parents may be living in another city or another country. Even then, thinking about them every day, calling them frequently, speaking to them is also your way of trying and repaying the debt. You can never repay the debt, but we are at least making an attempt to acknowledge that. The teachers who have taught us, the gurus, we can never pay back their debt. But what we can do is to touch their feet again and promise that you will, whatever learnings you have taken, you will pass it on to someone else. That is the way you pay the debt for the guru. We are talking about not being able to pay back the debt of the parents and the guru. What can we say about the devatas? What can we talk about the debt that we owe to none other than Sri Lakshmi Narayana, the Supreme Lord? Can we ever pay his debt? We can never pay. So therefore, the minimum, the bare minimum that we have to do is to think about him as frequently as possible. There is a there is a stipulated time, there is a stipulated amount of effort that we need to put to pay our respect for everybody else. But when it comes to God, Madhwacharya says, Shavanadi Vinaneva Kshanam Tishtetapi Ye Kvachit. That means don't wait even for 1 second. Don't waste even 1 second away from Shavana. That means getting the divine knowledge, reading, chanting, praying to God, thinking about God, contemplating about God, talking about God. Don't waste even a simple second. Even 1 second lost is a waste of time. So therefore, we should try and pay back this debt. Third one is staying closely connected to a family. Some people, are very fortunate that they're always staying close to the family. That itself gives sustained happiness. At the same time, unfortunately, we see the tendency in some people who want to stay away from the family. It makes them isolated. Man is a social animal. Our Shastras never say, give up your family, give up everything and go to a forest. No, that is not what is the ordained rule for a Grihastha. So a Grihastha is supposed to be having detachment or Vairagya, but he has to stay within the family. Sustaining that happiness within a family and yet treating that familial bond as a spiritual activity is the beauty of our Shastras. So our Shastras will always give us that advice that whatever we do, treat it like a philosophical thing, treat it like a spiritual activity. Drinking water is not drinking your water, it is you are energizing yourself to pray to God. You are eating food, that is yagna, because there is Agni inside you and you are feeding that Agni, like the way you put the ghee inside the homa when it's being done. You are not hearing, you are doing homa in your ears. So therefore, staying connected to a family will ensure that you have sustained happiness. Company of good people, sajjanas, nice people, positive people, who are always inspiring us. With such people you can always be happy. Then action as per one's resolution. You have determined something and you are going out and achieving it, then it is going to give you happiness because you set out a goal and you have achieved that goal. Lastly, living without fear. Very important. One should never live with that fear of anything. Whatever that fear is, we should be able to try to overcome that. Again, in doing all this, we have to take the help of God by praying to Him constantly. Then he goes on to say there are 6 plus 7 things that give us sorrow and defeat. What are they? Being jealous, one who lacks kindness, a person who is discontented. I wanted to spend some time on this aspect. A person who is perennially discontented, atrupti. Whatever you give, no, there is something this is not right. I wanted more. We could have done this. I could have got this also. So there is no. He does not know what is going to content. Make him content. At the same time, a person who is content, who says, I have everything I need, because his needs are limited. The only problem that he has and he's not happy with is Nana. So it becomes easy for him. He's going to be working towards only getting Nana. Right? Such people are absolutely, you have to be discontented about only one thing, which is that you don't have Gnana. That discontent converts into the thirst for knowledge and you start seeking knowledge. But people who are discontented in all the other aspects, the worldly aspects, can never be happy. They always have a list of things that they want. Always, I should buy this, I should buy this. So any, Amazon, sale is going on. They'll waiting. The moment something comes like that, they will keep buying things. Unfortunately, buying things probably we don't even need, is just our way of expressing our discontentedness. So buying things will not going to solve it. It will only increase it, because it is not meant towards addressing a need. Suppose you are feeling thirsty, you pick up some water and you drink. That is fine. But if you don't know why you need what you are doing and why you are acquiring certain things, how will it satisfy? Right? So we will be perennially discontented. Then angry. I think this is the most common challenge that we see. People who are angry, they are angry with something else, but they will be showing that anger on front of everybody else on some other thing which are totally disconnected. They may be angry that they are not progressing in their career. What do these people do? They will go all out and blame everybody, from their neighbor to teacher to wife to husband, father, mother, children, doesn't matter. They will keep blaming and saying that, look, it is because of that person that I'm not happy in my life, because they're angry. They're angry with about something else. The other people are suspicious. They are very insecure, and any small thing makes them suspicious. One thing that does not go right, they'll get very suspicious. And lastly, it is the feeds from others' wealth. People who are living on somebody else's wealth also cannot be happy, because they're just consuming somebody else's wealth. They're dependents. The human mind, the jiva, by definition is independent. It doesn't like to be dependent on others. Most people do not like to be dependent on others. For some time it's all fine, but to be perennially in that position makes that person sad. Then 7 things that one leads to defeat. If somebody has extramarital affairs, or people are involved in a game of chance. What is game of chance? That means whatever you bet on something, it's betting. Hunting, I mean, those days they used to call it hunting, but here it's about going and trying to acquire something in an illegal or an unlawful manner. Drinking, of course, any kind of addiction, it will ensure that it leads to defeat, because people know, your enemies know that you have that problem, you have that drawback, you have a bad habit. So many, and we can list so many great people who ruined their life because of addictions. So drinking, don't take it literally as drinking. It is any addiction that is pulling you down. Today there is a huge issue about digital addiction. That too is negative. Rude behavior. People who are rude to others think that they have got a one-upmanship. I was rude to them, I gave it back. But the moment they do that, they are also inviting a similar response from others. You give positive things will come to you. You give negative things, be sure it may not happen now, but it will boomerang someday or the other in the negative form. People who give harsh and disproportionately hard punishment to others. A king, this is in the context of a king, but it's applicable to everybody. But people who have very harsh takes on something, for small thing, they say that person should be killed. you know no, it doesn't. That person maybe needs to be told, or he has to be counseled, but for that you can't kill somebody. So people, even in the mentally, when they think like that, that means they're thinking in the extreme. And lastly, blame the things that he got in charity. So they take something from others as charity, but they blame, oh, this is not fine. I think we face a lot of these things when people attend events and weddings, especially. People give gifts. That's like taking something in charity. And they come home and say, oh, no, no, see, this is not a good thing that they give. That also leads to defeat. It also leads to lack of gratitude. So again, you must be thinking somewhere, okay, why so many things are being said to Dhritarashtra simply because he could not sleep? Because all these things in their own ways are impacting the peace of our mind. We may be thinking that you did the right thing by being angry. That person said something, I got very angry. I just shouted at him. It may be saying that, but in your mind, it has given you that, it has made you anxious. Because just imagine, you get angry for some time. You are angry probably for 2 to 3 minutes, but the impact of that anger probably can last sometimes even for days. it is acting in your mind, it's acting on your body. It's not worth it. Our cool is too important to be lost. So we should try and see how we do not lose cool. It's a very rare thing, it's a very precious thing for us to lose. So we should never try, however difficult it is. The best thing is sometimes, if you can't face the situation, just go out of that situation for some time. But don't let your anger overtake whatever you have to do, because it has got huge repercussions on us. That is why kama krodha, this arishad vargas, kama and krodha are very, very, very negative when it comes to our progress, any progress. So these are things that Vidura is warning us against. Okay, now there's a quiz question. He talks about one aspect. He says there is something which has 9 doors. It has 3 pillars, 9 doors, 3 pillars, and for these things there are 5 witnesses, and there is one occupant. What is this? He has answered it, but this is a quiz question for you. What are we talking about here? What is this? It is something which has 9 doors. It has 3 pillars, 5 witnesses, and one occupant. What is this? Please type in the comment section. Yes, superb. Very good. It is nothing but our body. Right? Our body has 9 openings. Right? Navadware pure dehe. Absolutely fantastic, Ashwin. Very well done. Risha P. Narayan. Is that, am I saying your name correctly, sir? And Rashmi Raj, absolutely correct. So I think this thing about Navadwara, I think must have given you the answers. Navarandhras, correct. So our body has 9 openings. It has 3 qualities or gunas, which is called sattva, rajas, and tamas. Absolutely right, Anil sir. You are absolutely right. It's our body, right? And it has got 5 witnesses. That means something which is always looking at you and grasping things. What is that? It is Gnanendriyas. And finally, there is one person called the Kshetragna, which is God, who is there with us. This is our construct. Yes, Madhavan, our Deha. Absolutely right. So, a person who understands this is called a Kavi. That means he is a scholar. That means he has got knowledgeable. He's got knowledge and he is a wise person. Now, he goes on to say, from 9 we have moved to 10 now. What are those 10 things who will never get gnana and never understand dharma? Who are those 10 people? Number 1, drunkards. People who have lost consciousness. Mad people. So when you say people have lost consciousness, it could be they are in a intoxicated state or they have just lost their brain. The third one is mad people. For some reason, if they have actually gone mad. People who are tired. People who are perennially angry. People who are hungry, unfortunately. A person in a perennial state of hurry. A person who is greedy. And 9, there are people who are scared or very, very anxious. And lastly, somebody who is lustful. That means he is unfortunately full of lust, full of evil desires. These people will never be able to learn anything. So if you see, even in a classroom, when you see a good student, he is free of all these things, because of which he is able to get that dharma, gnana. Otherwise, these are all things which will create roadblocks. Now it is very easy for us to say that, okay, I don't have any addiction, I have not lost my brain, I'm not mad, right? I am not in a lot of things. I am not lustful and so on. But look at other things. I am not hungry. But look at other things which are dragging us down. I'm only pointing to those things which are more popular in our, in the common world, which is greed. We may not be aware of many of these activities, many of these drawbacks. Our anger, if somebody is anger, how will he sit and learn? Because he does not have the calmness to be able to absorb. So therefore, in the calm water, you'll find the shadow of the moon. If the water is very is moving all the time, you'll never be able to see the reflection of the moon. Has anybody seen the reflection of a moon inside a sea? No, because it's got waves. It has got lot of waves. But in a pond, the water is still. You can see the reflection of the moon, right? So if you want gnana, which is nothing but a reflection of the gnana of the God itself, our mind has to be calm. Our mind has to be calm. The water has to be pure. Only then we will see the pratibimba. Same way, gnana will come only to those people who are staying away from all this. At least, even if we have this, how do we reduce this? Because sometimes we are wondering, Are, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to earn this gnana, I'm trying to finish reading a book, I want to do this, I want to study the shastras. But if these are coming within us, they will become very severe roadblocks for us in our path of progress. So therefore, if we want to get that gnana, we have to get rid of these huge roadblocks and challenges that we face. Which brings us to the next point. How does, let us say, destiny has it that we have some challenges that we are coming up? How do we do that? The first thing is to have that courage, dhairya. How does one get dhairya? I can't handle the situation. That's what we feel. But that's where the power of prayer comes in. That yes, I have not done anything wrong. I'm still facing difficulties. So I need not be worried. I will face it. I don't have the strength, I know, but God will give me the strength. The Pandavas never said they will win the war because of their own strength. They said we have the courage that Krishna will stand by us. And look at what happened in the Mahabharata. Not just the war, before, during, and after the war, Krishna is always there with them. And with the power of Krishna, with the grace of Krishna, they were able to overcome the difficulties. Sudhama, Krishna's dear friend, was able to face poverty for so many years. He never went to Krishna and asked anything. But the moment Krishna gave him everything, he said, It's all Krishna's grace. Yesterday I did not have anything. Today Krishna has given me everything. Yet nothing has changed in my life because I have that courage. Even when the difficulty situation comes, we have all read the stories of Sri Raghavendra Swamiji. What kind of difficulty, what kind of poverty, unbelievable poverty. But he never lost the courage because he knew that he had something which will give him that ability to face that courage, which is God's grace. Right? Haripada Nishevanalabdha Samasta Sampat. Haripada Kanja Nishevanalabdha Samasta Sampat. He got everything just by praying to God's feet. Yes, it didn't happen immediately. The moment he faced difficulties, he said, That is because of me. It is my mistake. In some janma, in some life, or maybe in this life itself, I have performed karmas because of which I am facing it. In fact, I'm thankful to God that giving me an opportunity to correct myself. See, all of us have written examinations. There are something called pre-exams. That means before the exam, we do some preparatory exams. Your teacher comes and fails you in one of them, points out that you have not understood. What do you go and tell the teacher? You say, Thank you, teacher. Thank you. Because this is not the real exam. This is just a mock exam. In the mock exam, you have pointed out all my flaws. So if by giving this, in the final exam when it comes, At that time, I will be all set, because by now I know where I am, what mistakes I have made. So great people always look at even difficult situation and says, I have learned something from this, because this challenge is not the final one. There will be many more. But today, because of this challenge, I have learned how to face a challenge, right? And I will be able to do better next time when the challenge comes. And they're able to do that. That's how people improve themselves. The next one is conscious response to a situation. There is a difference between something that is called response and something called reaction. Reaction is immediate. You told me this, I'm telling you this. Somebody asked me, somebody shouted at me, I also shouted at him. Somebody said, do this, I did this without thinking. That is reaction. Response is somebody said something or some situation came up, with weighing all the pros and cons, thinking through what it is, and then making a very conscious response to that situation. Right? So if a person makes a conscious response, that means weighing all the options, then that person is called a sensible person. Right? It is able to overcome that challenge, controls the mind, act with intellect. He's not getting emotional. He is acting with intellect. He is not letting situations weigh away his power to analyze the situation. Right? An elephant comes charging at you. You say, elephant, I am going to teach you a lesson. He says, I am just going to attack. Elephant is attacking me, I am also going to attack the elephant. What is the result of this so called bravado? We know what is going to happen, right? So it might mean that we have to sometimes act with intellect. Intellect says, elephant is coming, run, hide, go away. If you want, we'll take revenge with the elephant some other day, but today is not that day. So we have to act with that intellect, and that comes when you're thinking calmly, not when you're thinking emotionally. Fourth one, he faces the difficulty. Sometimes he says, look, I have to face the difficulty. I have no choice. I've tried everything, it's come. Let me just be facing this, difficulty. Lastly, always safeguards the righteous men and or the values. He never loses a sense of his values. Just because he is under difficulty, he doesn't abandon the right people, the sajjanas, because he knows that my personal situation has got nothing to do with them. They're right people, they're nice people, they're great people. So in our the way we have to interpret it is, no matter what happens, we have to ensure that we are always having the guru on our side. That's why this Apadamauli Paryantam Gurunam Akritam Smaret Tena Vignaha Pranashyanti Siddhyanti Cha Manorathaha. The shloka I think all of us would have heard. So just thinking about the God, about the Guru, will help us overcome all the challenges. It is not saying remembering God, it is saying remembering the Guru. Remembering the Guru itself helps us overcome these challenges. Why? It's because of this. Because even at that time, what the Guru taught us, what the right people taught us, it could be anybody who has taught us anything, will always stand by us. Some advice somebody has given you, saying in this kind of situation you should do that. You apply that and it has worked for you. Has such a thing not happened in our life? So therefore, no matter what happens, we should never abandon the the righteous person. Lastly, and we're going to conclude with this, is that Vidura says, look, today your children are successful. Why? Because they own the entire kingdom. It is their kingdom. They've taken it from the Pandavas and they have not given up on that. So they are considered to be successful, but they are not competent. So therefore, anybody who is successful without being competent, what should that happen? You should be very careful with such people, because they are incompetent. They will lose it. They will lose it as fast as they've got it. So after a long thing, after a long period of advice, what we have covered in the Vidura Neeti is one part of Vidura Neeti. Vidura Neeti, as I said, has got 300 odd shlokas. So in all of that, he summarizes everything in one thing. Last time somebody had asked this question whether Vidura Neeti is in the form of a question and answer. The answer is no. There are some interjections in between where Dhritarashtra is, after listening to many advice, is asking Vidura to give him more advice. He says, "You are such a nice person. You are such a knowledgeable person. You are such a dharmanishta that I want to hear more things. Whatever you are telling me is giving me a positive impact. So can you please continue this?" He gives more examples. So he asks. So it's a long one, but unfortunately, after listening to everything, Vidura, after whatever Vidura has to say, Dhritarashtra says, "Sorry, whatever you're saying is great, but I don't think um, I can implement whatever you're telling me, because my extreme sense of attachment to my sons and extreme sense of detachment that I have towards my responsibilities." Now, it was his responsibility as the eldest in the family to be fair. The responsibility became even more because Pandu is not there. Pandu has died. Madri, his second wife, has also died, leaving behind Kunti and these 5 orphan children. So he could have played the role of the father, not just to the Pandavas, not just to the Kauravas, but Pandavas. History would have been so different had he taken that path. Now, what is the difference between Kunti and Dhritarashtra is evident here. We all heard in the Yaksha Prashna. What happens is, Kunti, when Pandu Raja dies, the two queens are talking amongst themselves, two wives, and both of them, there was a system of called Sahagamana. That means when the husband dies, the wife will also die along with them. They will jump into the pyre and they will die. It was a system which prevailed for many years, and it was there in many parts of India till a few centuries back also. So when they are doing that, Kunti says that I am going to do that. I am going to go with the king, with Pandu. I am also going to die. You take care of the children. She is telling Madri. Madri says, "No, I will go with Pandu. You stay here and take care of the children." The reason is, you have 3 children, Yudhishthira, Bhima, and Arjuna. I have 2 children. If you die, I will not be able to take care of your children in the same manner that I take care of my children, because I don't have that large heartedness, but you have that large heartedness. Look at her confidence in Kunti. Look at how Kunti should have behaved in her life to be able to gain the confidence of someone who is her own husband's second wife, right? She never loses that sense of dharma. Never did she forget about Pandavas. She treated Kauravas also as her own children. Amongst the Pandavas, her focus was always on Nakula and Sahadeva. She would always tell Yudhishthira, "How is Nakula and Sahadeva doing?" Then she will ask, "How are you doing? How is Bhima doing? And how is Arjuna doing?" That is because they were Madri's children. That is why when the whole Mahabharata war is concluded, the person who is Yudhishthira's personal bodyguard is Nakula. The reason Yudhishthira says is that the personal bodyguard has the right to keep a naked sword, right? So he can hold a sword without a cover and stand next to the king. That is privilege, and that's a responsibility of only the personal bodyguard. Why? Because somebody attacks, he will not have time to take off the cover. So before something happens, he is able to protect the king. But if there is a naked sword right next to the king, he can also chop off his head. The king also will not have the time to react. So the king, therefore, has to have 100% faith in that bodyguard. And that is Yudhishthira's way of saying, if there is anybody I trust 100%, it is Nakula. He could have given the task to Bhima. He could have given the task to Arjuna. Both of them are very, very competent uh, warriors, much more than Nakula. But he says no. So this thing about maintaining that dharma is coming to him because he is Dharmaraja, he is Yamadharmaraya. And the fact that he has got a wonderful role model in the form of Kunti in front of him. Now compare it to Dhritarashtra, who never could do this, who never had that sense of balance, who never had that sense of dharma. He will talk about dharma, he will do everything about dharma, he will listen about dharma, but he will not implement it. So the person who listened to dharma became Arjuna. The person who did not listen to dharma became Dhritarashtra. And what happened at the end of the war, we all know. So therefore, we are coming to the end of Vidura Neeti. And now we understand why do we feel anxious. So let's go back and see how we can use Vidura Neeti. Some of us may be aware to some extent about why we feel anxious. But I think it's a good exercise to evaluate ourselves and say, are there aspects of our personality which we ourselves are not aware of, where we feel anxious? Are there things that have happened in our lives which are making anxious, which we are not knowing? So, if we want to understand this entire glacier, we have come to this thing called the checklist. I talked about it last time. It's called the Vidura Neeti checklist. Simple. All the advice that Vidura has given as do's and don'ts, we are going to compile that into an Excel sheet. As I told you, we have covered a small part of Vidura Neeti. There are a lot of other aspects. So if I keep on covering, maybe we'll take another 10 sessions to do only Vidura Neeti. That may get too long. We have given you a framework about what Vidura Neeti is. Now we are making life easy for putting together what is Vidura Neeti checklist. So this will be launched on the 31st of October. So if you want to get access to this checklist, please write us a mail after 31st of October on Madhwacharya for youth at gmail.com. Just drop in a mail. We will send you this checklist. We want you to keep this and evaluate yourself on a daily basis or a weekly basis or a monthly basis. We leave it to you. But we are recommending a weekly basis. On a weekly basis for about 8 weeks, if you do this, where you're going through each question and answering whether that is applicable to you or not, I think all of us will get to know what are those things that are causing you anxiety. Those things which are not very apparent. That is that bottom part of the glacier we'll be able to discover. So therefore, we all have a choice whether we want to be like Dhritarashtra or we want to be an Arjuna. So all of us say, no, we want to be Arjuna. What are we saying? Yes, if you want to be doing that, you have to implement it. So simple checklist we are going to provide. So please do write to us. We are also going to launch this as a reel on Instagram, and you just have to type yes. We will send you the link. You can download it from a Google Drive and also use it, or you can write to us. We will send you this checklist, and please use it. And you don't have to tell anybody. It's your checklist, and keep it. And if you have any difficulty in answering some questions, please do write into us. We'll arrange for a short call and help you understand that very much, right? So it's a new attempt we are making to how we can put Vidura Neeti to use. What I also want to all of us to do is that once you read that checklist, you will also see how we are putting a concept into an action. So to be able to make the transition, it will become easy. Once you learn this technique of reading something and saying, okay, this is what it means for professional life, suddenly that one book will become 3 books. It's a spiritual book, it's a personal development book, and it's a professional enhancement book as well. Any Shastras. So, with that, we are again coming back to this. What should be the next topic for our live session? Please do write in either in the comment section now, or you can think through and send us a mail. It could be these topics or any other topic that you would like us to cover. So based on the responses, we will cover the next topic. We will soon announce when the next session is going to happen. Um, these are some ways by which you can be connected to Ataha. We have WhatsApp groups. We can use it. We use it to pass on information about any new content that we have introduced. Then we are doing the Instagram channel. Please scan it. So I'll just switch off the video so that all of you can scan it if you want. Thank you so much for joining our WhatsApp groups. WhatsApp groups have numbers have just gone through the roof. We're very happy that you're joining the group. The Instagram channel as well. I think many thousands of people have joined in the last few months. Uh, Very thankful to you. It really motivates us to give us more content. We'll be increasing our content on Instagram as well. Of course, the YouTube channel. This is a channel on which people will be watching it after the live session. There are lots of other things that are there. And then you have the email, which is Madhwacharya for the youth for on at gmail.com. This will help us to get any response. So if you want to write to us on any of these things, please feel free to do that. Many of you are keen to uh, do this about Vyasa Madhva, which is a series of Patha sessions. That means detailed study of the Madhwacharya Sarvamoola Grantha, which is done every day by our Pujya Guru, Shri Vyasanikare Prabhanjanacharya. Please join this WhatsApp group. I am told that this has become very popular after we uh, did this. So, which is putting it on these videos. Hundreds of people have started joining this group. Excellent decision. Please join if you have not done that. Every day you will get a link. You can join live. If you miss that or some other time is convenient to you, because these sessions are done in the morning at around 8:30, this recording is available for all the Shastra Granthas. It is an unbelievable Grantha collection that Pujya Acharya has been doing for many decades. This is the seventh time he's doing the Sarvamoola Grantha Pata. So please join there. Of course, you are aware of our podcast. We will be releasing the next set very shortly. So please stay tuned. Excellent sessions by some great leaders. Also, 30th and 31st of October and 1st November 2025 happens to be the Aradhana Mahotsava of the great Vijaya Dasaru, coming in the very illustrious tradition of the Dasa Chatushtaya, which is Purandara Dasaru, Gopala Dasaru, Vijay Dasaru, and Jagannatha Dasaru. These are called a quartet of four Dasas who made a great contribution to the Dasa Sahitya. Amongst them is none other than Sri Vijay Dasaru. So, life and works of Sri Vijay Dasaru uh, uh, will be a special session that in English with Sri Venkateshwara Bhakti channel of TTD will be broadcasting. I will share the exact time when this is going to be broadcast on our YouTube and on our Instagram channel and WhatsApp channel. Please watch it there. Excellent story. It's a very inspiring story of a person who had no formal education, but if you want to learn the Vedas, you need Sri Vijayadasaru's blessings. That is how great his latent knowledge was. And they say that you have to read all the Madhwa Shastra at least 3 times to be able to really understand the depth of his Devarnamas. He has composed a number of Suladis, as many of you would know. We will be covering those Suladis also in part in these 3 episodes that will be broadcast on 30th and 31st of October and 1st of November. So, this is it from our side. Based on the topic that you choose, we will announce the next set of sessions. So, I see that we have a lot of suggestions. Jiva Kartrutva, Lakshmi Hridaya Stotra, Vritti Pravritti. Sir, we have to explain, Anil sir, what this means, what exactly you have in mind. Generic question answer to clear a few doubts. Great, Risha. I think that's a great suggestion. We will definitely do that. Nitya Karmanushtana for women, unmarried and married. Yes, we have covered some of these topics as a part of our Instagram reels. There are specific reels we have made only for women and what is the sadhana krama for them. But we will definitely want to cover that as a part of this session as well, because that will be more detailed. And great suggestion. Learning from Maharani Kunti Devi. Yes, there is a on the invitation of the Swamiji of Krishnapura Matha. I'd once visited Udupi, and he had asked me to give lectures on Bhagavata. So I gave a lecture on for 7 days. I took the stories of seven devotees, and one of them was Kunti Devi. So the great lessons. The Kunti, I think, is one of the most interesting characters in the Mahabharata, because unlike all the other people who are all great gods, Shri Krishna is Narayana, Rukmini is Lakshmi, then you have got Bhimasena who is Vayu, Dharma Raja who is Yama. All her sons are all devotees. All of them are at a much higher pedestal than her, from a Taratamya perspective, from a hierarchy perspective. Yet Kunti stands out as a very special person who's born in a situation of extreme difficulties, yet who has got only great dharma lessons to give all of us. So therefore, it's not just one. Kunti's life itself is a great lesson in dharma. So great suggestion uh, on that. I think uh, you know to do that. So yeah, generic Q&A, I got it, sir. Fantastic session. Oh, thank you so much. And aligning profession and swabhava, very good. Thank you, Anil sir. Now I understood what it is. I think you meant to say vritti as a profession and your pravritti. Great suggestion again. Aligning profession and swabhava, jiva kartrutva. Yes, this is a topic I think which we have got the maximum number of times. We have got this thing about what is tattva swatantriya or jiva kartrutva. So yes, we will be covering that as a topic as well. Maybe it needs 2 sessions. It's a thing which has got many aspects to it. We will definitely want to cover it. So with those words, thank you for joining the session. I will announce the schedule for the next session depending on what topic all of you suggest. Over the next 2-3 days, we'll get a lot of suggestions. So based on that, we will make a decision. Everything that you are talking about, we will cover it at some stage or the other. Thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of the weekend and come back Monday fully energized with what you learned in Vidura Neeti. If you are able to make even a small impact in people's life and getting somebody interested and getting them on the path of sadhana towards bhakti, towards Sri Hari, our purpose is more than served. It does not matter how many people are attending the session, but we never look at the numbers when it's going on. But it will flash at one corner sometimes as to how many people are joining the session. So close to 700 people join on an average every session. Last time it was 733. It is now 697. And I'm so glad that people who joined stay till the very end and are benefiting. Any change in topic, format, anything you want differently, please let us know. We have no other work other than to do what is useful to all of you. And if something is not useful to you, we don't want to do it. So Shastras are meant to elevate all of us. They're not meant just as a theoretical exercise. So thank you once again. Whatever little we have done, we will all offer it, the Vidura Neeti, on the feet of Lord Krishna and say, Krishna Arpanamastu. Thank you so much.